official partner of gymnastics.
Hello and welcome to the 6th International from the Berçy Stadium in Paris for artistic gymnastics. It's a record-breaking purse as the sport develops and grows in popularity, and also some of the big names from the previous World Championships and former Olympic Games are present here in Paris. Day 2 means the individual apparatus to be contested, and as always, alongside myself, Nick Fellows in the commentary box, Eurosport's resident gymnast expert, Monica Phelps. Monica, the sport is changing and developing, and there's an awful lot of money out there for one or two of the competitors today.
Yes, but I like to say that the overall face of the sport hasn't changed because of the money, and I hope, well, I say the overall face of the competitors hasn't changed. The one thing that we see different is a bit like tennis. They're coming in much gayer apparel, and I think that's good. That gives a much more relaxing atmosphere. It makes it much better for the viewer at home, rather than to see the stark white on the apparatus. But nevertheless, the standard hasn't dropped. The standard is superb.
The World Championships firmly set in his sights coming up later this year. Well, first the women's vault is Lilia Podkopaeva, I should say.
And really one of my favourite gymnasts. She made such an entrance onto the international gymnastic arena in the 94 Worlds and the 94 Europeans. She was stupendous, absolutely superb. And she's just not on song at this competition. There, Fristeva vault, named after the Bulgarian gymnast. And it's in effect, it's a Yurchenko with a half twist. 9.831, a superb vault, but in my opinion, an over-tariff vault.
Well, Lilia Podkopaeva determined to make amends for her 10th position in the all-around competition. Con Couteau of France was to deny the Ukrainian top position with some excellent vaulting, and France very much a gymnastic force to be reckoned with.
Oh yes, they're really coming on in leaps and bounds, and I think with the influx of Soviet gymnasts within their system, we can only look for a tremendous improvement in the next 4 or 5 years leading up to the World Championships. Brilliant lift off the top. And look how central it is to the horse. That really shows for good technique. There, the Arab spring, the half a somersault onto the apparatus, and 1.5 somersaults off straight with a half twist.
9.837 was the first vault, with the average of the two giving us the final score.
Remembering this is competition 2, where the highest score is not the counting score, but the average. Sorry, competition 3. Competition 2 yesterday. Oh dear. Having to do 2 different vaults, obviously, and the easier of the 2 vaults, she didn't perform nearly as well, which doesn't really say a lot for her mental state, because she should not have taken for granted the fact that the second vault was easier. She just loosened off a little bit mentally. And I'm sure she'll be the first to criticise herself. So look at that, it plummeted her average, 9.174. Full in back out to finish, and full in, full out to open. So it really just has to neaten up. And now the lady who took the overall title in the overall tournament event, Svetlana Korkina. What an elegant gymnast, just look at that. But she looks like a foal, Nick. She doesn't look as though she has the power to vault over with such mammoth length and height.
An athlete with beauty and poise, but finds power, strength, and for me, incredible focus and concentration in competition. And this was Svetlana on her way to her 2nd gold medal of this championships, claiming the top prize in the women's vault, and confirming that that all-around performance was no one-off, and again, superb.
Lovely length. Nice vault. It was a Yurchenko. It's a half on, and then the half off the top of the horse, and then the 1.5 back somersault, so it was like a Cuervo exit. But Korkina really is replacing the great, elegant Boginskaya, but not quite such a moody character. It'll be interesting. Oh, 9.95, good score for that gold medal. But it'll be interesting to see if Boginskaya does, in fact, make her return to the World Championships, because then there'll be a head-to-head between the 2 ballerinas of gymnastics, really.
Well, I hope that Boginskaya does come back, but she'll have to perform extremely well to get the better of Svetlana Korkina, a silver medalist in this, the vault of the World Championships, and confirming the form from Brisbane in '94. Just a little step forwards there.
But good variety of skill, you see. There, the actual Cuervo vault. This is very clever coaching, clever strategy.
And he will be, like many of the youngsters, looking to impress national side selectors with the World Championships not too far away. Korkina Podkopoeva, and again another young French performer performing well in front of the crowd. We'll take a quick commercial break, but we'll be back with the uneven bars with the women and the pommel horse and the men in just a short while. Individual 9.625 were good enough to go into first position at that point in the competition. Elvire Teza of France from Reunion Island, and now a member of that very famous Marseille gym club moniker, was another one that caught the eye in the women's uneven bars competition.
Yes, and this looks good stuff. Hop half, forward giant in check, a mighty high Jaeger piked, back circle, slot through to drop to the bar. A lovely connection there. A massive variety of skill. Again, that lovely half turn. And the inward double dismount. And there's been a lot of foresight gone into her training because of the unusual method of working on the top bar. So, you know, she must have been schooled from the age of 7 or 8 on the forward movements, because she's got them off pat. Really beautifully executed. This here, the back seat circle. Up, look at the strength in the shoulders there to swing round and haul herself back up to the stoop through. The reverse grasp giants up into the mighty Jaeger piked, and a well-deserved first place. Look at the score, 9-7-3.
In the Berçy Stadium by claiming top honours in the men's pommel horse competition. Another new name to gymnastics on Eurosport, Vasu Tasvadaradu. I hope I pronounced that correctly. 12th in the recent European Junior Championships in Stockholm, 3rd in the vault. Just 15 years of age, and another junior making her debut in the senior ranks and doing it with great style.
Oh yes, the front uprise, forward giant and forward grasp at the opening. There again, that's Larry. Really. Ooh. Takes a lot of courage to do a forward giant with that hand change. And working without guards. Double layout, boy oh boy. That was good stuff. Hope my kids back home are watching this. They know what to expect. Get the whip out when I get home.
Well, she's just 15 years of age. She was impressive in the European Juniors, but she's determined to make her mark. And that was a tremendous performance. And what amazes me, Monica, with these youngsters is there seems to be no sign of nerves. And look at the score, 9.825.
That was really a nice routine. All right, one can argue there were arm bends, and there were several of those. But their routine just had something different.
We were talking of the French having a very strong team for this year's Worlds in Sabai in Japan, and Laetitia Bieg of the French side is another 14-year-old from that famous Marseille gym that's determined to make her mark as well on the seniors this year.
Yeah, earlier in the routine we had Marinich, and then we had Akachev. See, we've almost moved into another planet on the A-bars. I think that's the one piece of apparatus, really on reflection over the last 2 or 3 years, that has changed. It's upgraded tremendously. It's almost like that all the years the men have been tantalizing us with their skill on high bar. The women, well, I know because I coach and I have a high bar in my gym, and that's how all the skills are learned. And now, the years of training that they've put in is really showing in competition.
Well, Zav Varedou was to score 9.825, but Laetitia Bieg of France was to score 9.87 in form this season. And whilst we're talking of youngsters and the girls really taking the asymmetric bars to another level, Spain also has a star in the making. Yona Jerez, at just 15 years of age, seen here claiming 3rd position in the women's A-bar event.
This is one of the best A-bar events I've seen, actually. Lovely, strong shapes. Look at the exchanges on top of the bar. A little bit booty in flight, you know, and her coordination, obviously, is a little bit at question when she comes to stretching the feet, and she gets into a little bit of difficulty. Her stretch breaks down. But I can see why it got third. Just under par to the others, but very strong. Oh, I like the dismount. I like the dismount. Double layout. Strong performer. She made her mark in the Junior European Championships. Got into a couple of the finals. But that shoot over the bottom bar into straddle, it's something like a club gymnast would use, not so much an international. A good, strong gymnast would have kept their feet together.
Following the footsteps of A-bar's confirmation, Big, Svadadadu and Jurez, 3 young juniors, all making their mark for the first time in senior competition, and 3 names worthy of a little scribble in the notebook to watch out for. A very impressive A-bar's competition. We take time for a quick commercial break, but we'll be back with the women's vault and the men on the rings. Yes, Yuri Keki after the break. Well, the world's #2 in the beam, or the world silver medalist, is Lilia Podkopaeva. A very, very beautiful, and for me, Monica, an enchanting performer.
Yes, as I said, she doesn't mount on beam. She makes an entrance. She is really something special, but not on the form that she was in '94. So let's hope she is on a learning curve, or, you know, she might just be a bit out of sorts this weekend. Not too comfortable, that landing. But she does look as though she's struggling. She doesn't have the same sparkle, but nevertheless, beautiful gymnast. Powerful and yet elegant. Front semi into not jump. And a little half spin in headstand. But this beam competition is just like the A-bar final. It's going to be a really hot comp. Some very, very good gymnasts. So far, she hasn't had a big back tumble. She did double flick into Corbett, piked. A minute and a half. She's got to be off the beam by. Pull him back out. Knew where the end of it was. Good work, but she could easily get overhauled on that performance, because there are some good gymnasts. We've got Amanar to come, and Begu. This, the dodgy double back handspring, could have done with a layout on this run, you see. Piked, oh, she was over-rotated, not centre. Squeezing the beam with her thighs so that she doesn't hurt her crutch. Here the front semi into jump, just manages to keep it going, because combinations are the essence in beam nowadays. And here the full twisting double back. Not the prettiest of moves to look from the end, but mighty difficult. 9.622. Good score, but I don't think it'll be enough to take the first place.
Cécile Concouteau of France, brimming with confidence after claiming the bronze medal in the women's vault, and looking to claim her second of the individual apparatus finals.
And as well, these aren't giveaways. I mean, often the host country gets the odd bronze medal here and there. These are well-earned medals. I must emphasize that they're very, very well-earned. They're the Miller, which is the quarter twisting flick to split. And of course, with the Joe being introduced in the computer analysis of scores for the Women's Technical Committee, they get yellow cards for bad judging and red cards for bad judging, and 10 warnings and they're out. So the standard of women's judging has really improved, but I still think it's all too complicated. It's not really viewer friendly. We need a system where you, the viewer at home, can have a rough idea of who's won and who hasn't won, and this always, this isn't so. But of course, with such a highly complicated sport, it is difficult. Ready for the dismount, clean routine so far. Triple twist. And looking at the top of her leg, at some time she's had quite a prang on the beam. She's got a really big bruise on her thigh. And that can have only been recent, and you can see that it hasn't disturbed her ability there. Flick, layout, layout. Beam is all absolute confidence. Every gymnast who's a good gymnast learns these tricks on the floor, but then you've just got to get up on beam and believe it. It's not balance, it's belief.
Well, the upset of the women's beam competition, Cécile Concourteau going ahead of Lilia Podkopayeva, going into first position, 9.7. Simona Amenar of Romania looking to get ahead of Concourteau, who leads in this women's apparatus.
I must confess I've never seen Amenar, ever. This is my first viewing of her. I can't find... I can see... I've seen results in competitions versus Great Britain, etc. She was at Portsmouth a while ago, very near my home, but I just couldn't manage to see her. This is the new technique, starting with slightly bent knees. I've heard it recommended, but I don't say I like it. But I suppose if you can land, work on the beam like that, the philosophy must be, does anybody wonder whether you go very high on the beam? What matters is that you stay on. And in her case, 4 semis linked together. Nice nifty shoulder roll. She doesn't set me alight, actually. She's more than competent. But not as exciting as Kakovian, who we'll have a look at, hopefully. Flick. Turn double back. But no two ways about it, full of fast twitch, and that's what you need in gymnastics. Very, very capable. Young, only 15 this year. So perhaps she's got plenty of time to develop the artistry, which looks to be the lacking aspect.
Methodical worker, I agree there, Monica, but a youngster that's gaining valuable experience in this French international, and that experience also pays dividends. 9.575 gives Amenar. Nation of the women's, Concourteau of France. For her, that must be a very exciting win over the world #2 and world silver medalist Lilia Podkopayeva, with Amenar of Romania third. Another quick commercial break, but we'll be back with the high bar in just a short while. Welcome back to the last 2 apparatus finals from the International of France in the Berçy Stadium, Paris. It's the high bar for the men and the floor for the women. Here's that youngster that we've seen for the first time here on Eurosport, Amenar of Romania, with her floor exercise, looking to follow in the footsteps of many great Romanian floor performers.
Well, it's quite easy to see what her quality is, and that's power. Look at the power in those leg biceps. Really a lot of jumping power. Whip. Oh, 2.5 twist punch front. Well, once the artistry has been developed, then we're going to see a lot more of this girl. Lovely double spin. And that kind of power has come from a very tight body, which means that back home in the gym, she's had to have done an awful lot of work on mobility. Triple twist.
Well, the little traces in there of Gina Gosian for me with that cheeky routine. And for me, Monica, that's the one area that she needs to work on. There's no question of the power and the technical ability, but just needs to become now a little more pleasing for the audience, a little more dance, but certainly yet another Romanian star in the making.
Yes, this is beautiful quality work, lovely tumbling, and just the experience, really. 9,637.
Laetitia Bieg of France with her floor exercise, second in the all-around in the recent European Juniors. Monica, the French got a lot of hopes pinned upon this youngster.
Oh, she's great. This floor routine is really something special. She's a powerful tumbler and an expressive dancer, and it's different. Pulling back out, back with power. She can just maintain her power to weight ratio because she looks a wee bit on the chunky side for a gymnast. I mean, the leaner the gymnasts are, the better they can maintain their post-pubescent physical fitness. But this is great down. And it suits her. It wouldn't suit many gymnasts, but it really does suit her type. It's like a ragdoll dance, isn't it? Rather a long breather before the final tumble. Pulling back out. And a Lili backspin to finish. Lili, of course, the Chinese innovator who produced it on beam. But full of character, very different interpretation to the music.
Laetitia Bieg of France, 15 years of age and a very refreshing young performer. And let's hope that she can continue her rise to international stardom and success, because it's good to see a youngster with such innovation in her routine. The judges also agreeing 9.712, so Laetitia goes into first position as we move to one of the greats, and certainly one of the big stars of the recent World Championships, and the winner of the all-around competition here yesterday, Svetlana Korkina from Russia. Monica, I know her grace you really love to watch.
Well, I admire her because when I first saw her, that's pulling back out pike, I thought she was an unlikely candidate to really be successful because she didn't look strong. She looked rather too fragile and skinny. But this works for her. And she's so laid back. She just doesn't look nervous ever. That's a lovely combination, full twisting front into free walkover. She moves like a kaleidoscope, doesn't she, between skills. They just intermingle. I think this is one of the best floor routines I've seen in quite a few years. Lovely touch there. The quality of Ilyenko, Natalia Ilyenko, who was a beautiful dancer and a little bit sultry like Boginskaya, but I would say she's better than Boginskaya on the floor anyway. Oh, what a pearl of a triple twist. Great, absolutely great.
That was beautiful.
I loved it.
Well, of course, the skill factor, there is no question, but the artistry is just spot on. And here's a youngster that seems to be maturing and finding that all-important balance. Quite a change of shape since Brisbane, Monica.
Yeah, but she's not even puffing. After all of that, a minute and a half of stupendous skill. you know, having to maintain an elegance. Look, 9.887. Boy, was it ever worth it.
Way through the high bar competition. Back to the floor, and Kochetkova from Russia. And, well, if you're unfamiliar with gymnastics, this is the world floor champion. She's going to have to provide us with something very special to take the lead away from Korkina now.
I could just sit for hours and watch gymnastics of this level on the floor. Sit over a nice meal in a restaurant watching a competition of 50 good gymnasts on the floor. Perfect entertainment. Double layouts. Similar combination there, not quite as difficult. Handspring, full twisting front, straight front. Handspring Rudy, that's 1.5 twisting front. She looks a bit more stressed throughout the routine than Korkina, so possibly she hasn't quite mastered the level of difficulty that she's producing today. But she's obviously, having won a world title, is a beautiful floor worker. But at this point in time, even now, Korkina is better. Yes, I just think that she's having to work really hard, either on the fitness side, or it's the first time in international competition that she's used the big tumbles. I can't recall what she did when she won her world title. Or she may just not be feeling that brilliant today.
A little more urgency for me. She seemed to rush a lot of the tumbles, didn't seem happy from the first tumble onwards, and the score reflects that Dina Kochetkova, the world floor.
Just thought so too. Yanling Mao, our only Chinese gymnast here on invitation. And this, our first look at her. Didn't see her in the overall event, but looking particularly nervous, looking a little stressed. But by the size of her calf muscles, she looks as though she's stronger than the majority of Chinese. Let's see if she can get it all together. Double layouts. Chinese have never been short of elegance and mobility, but they could never seem to get the combination of the two skills. But of course, we're led to believe that they don't, you know, it doesn't matter if they don't win, but believe me, they're one of the most pressured nations. Well, bang goes the theory that the Chinese can't tumble, especially the women. This is great. I think perhaps the history of the Chinese making so many errors is the gross importance that is put on them winning. Because when they get back into the gym, they go through stick if they don't produce some medals. And here's one who looks as though she's enjoying it a bit more. Perhaps they've learned a few lessons, eh?
Well, she certainly smiled after, but she was, as you pointed out, looked determined but almost over-determined. I think what we see from the Chinese girls is they try too hard, and try too hard to please who? That is the question. Rather, Svetlana Korkina was out there and she wanted to entertain the crowd. And for me, that is the big difference between third position for Mao. Paris Berçy was given 9.650 and confirmed the winner. But for me, the best performance of this whole championship came on the floor from Svetlana Korkina with B. She'll be very proud to have come second. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for from this international. On behalf of myself, Nick Fellows, and of course Monica Phelps, it's time to say goodbye. Thanks for coming along again, Monica. We'll be back in June with the Europa Cup of Gymnastics, live and exclusive to Eurosport. And until then, from myself and Monica Phelps, it's goodbye for now.